Good morning. Oh, I gotta open up a new clothes recipe. I'm really excited about that. Good morning, and thank you for coming back. Like, this has turned out to be really fun and wholesome for me. Just they changed the applicator tip. Oh, that's nice because it lets less come out. That is nice. One of the so thanks for coming back, because one of the things that this channel is really about is doing something for me. So it's been nice just to take care of myself and do a routine for me without worrying about editing, without worrying about taking the time to film my makeup separately. It's very unpretentious, which I think is more of what I'm about and more of what aligns with my mental health. So I appreciate that. The fact is I have multiple people watch, and it might only be one or two people, but that kind of brightens your day when you think about the message that you're sending to people, and that you can live your life in a positive way that aligns with your values, that incorporates your hobbies and the meaning that you're trying to seek in your life, even when your schedule's really busy. And that's what I've been doing, and that message is getting out. Someone else has said, yes, I also need to get ready in the morning, and I also don't have time to film videos, and I also want to make sure that the effort that I bring to people, not the effort that I bring, but the effort that I put into the world brings joy to people. Like, that's kind of my goal and my consideration. I am shedding everywhere. This is not going to be good. My hair is not even long. So I kind of thought here's another hair. It's two separate hairs. So what I was thinking about doing was kind of exploring that mental health road for a little bit, and actually talking about work-life balance and what that actually means, because it's such a nebulous concept. No one really knows what it means. It's a lot of the work that I do when coaching, when people say I want more life balance, and I'm like, okay, so tell me what that is. And it's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, let's find out. And I'm kind of in that same way for me. Like, I don't know what work-life balance could be. Like, I'm flexible enough. I can find happiness in a variety of ways. Like, there's just not one path to happiness. And that's probably good. You don't want to box yourself into like one thing brings you happiness and nothing else. I don't think that's good from a mental health standpoint. So it's hard for me to like pick one thing. Like, this is the one thing that I need. And I have to get into like the values. And I'm like, well, what do I need to be able to accomplish? And if I had accomplished those things, will that bring work-life balance? And I found it's a definition I really didn't agree with at the time, but I really appreciate it now. I'm going to play with the Blend Buddy Machina today. One of the things that I really didn't appreciate at the time was this metaphor for like constantly being pulled. And I don't like the idea of constantly being pulled, because to me, work-life balance means you don't feel that tension. You don't constantly feel like you're not enough, like you're not getting things done, like there's always more to be doing. I had associated this ability to relax as this idea that I've got work-life done. Like, work is done, home is done, and then I have me time. And that's not balance. That's taking care of other people first before you take care of yourself. And that's a little bit common toward women. I was just reading a chapter book the other day that was describing the experience of Black women. It's particular associated with burnout among them as well, but definitely women in general can experience that type of burnout. Everyone can, but particularly single working moms of four. I have the emotional support of my husband, but man, I would really like it if he were home to do dishes. So some of the things that I've learned from this particular senior military leader that really didn't make sense to me for a couple of years when I became an exec was eventually you'll get to the point in your career, eventually you get to the point in your home life, eventually life is going to catch up with you, and there's not going to be a break. Like, you're never going to be done. You're never going to be able to put, something down and take that time for yourself to relax, because there'll always be something else that calls or something else that needs you. So you have to learn to prioritize that. And that is easier said than done. We can't just say work-life balance and suddenly we have it. We have to engage behaviors. It's behaviors that change and help us meet our goals, not just setting the goals themselves. We have to engage our behavior to meet them. So this idea of constantly being pulled by a rubber band started to fit with me and make sense with me, because there's always going to be something done at work, and you have to give it the time and attention. You have to reduce the stress, that it's pulling on you. But it's the same thing with home. You have to, I'm putting way too much on. This is going to be a fun look. You have to give work or your family the attention that it's due. And then you have to give yourself the attention that is due. Right? You can't ignore yourself. It's not earned. It's owed. Like, self-care is not earned, it's owed. So that's kind of where I am right now, in going, wow, I've been giving so much to work. I had to give more to the family. And then I gave so much to my family that I had to give more to work. So I started giving more to work and family. And for me, work is also school. So I have, like, work for me is complicated to begin with, because I have multiple competing bosses, because I'm an independent contractor. So I have, my own business. I have my contract work. I have school work. I already have to juggle as it is. I'm just softening this out. This really, really bright color needs to be blended. But anyway, as you get pulled in each of those directions, that tells you what is most urgent and what is demanding. And what happens is some people just start to ignore the pull, because they've got, like, well, I've got this project at work. I've got, I want to get this promotion. I want to chase this milestone. There's this big team meeting coming up. And you kind of go all in on work, and that family pulls harder and harder and harder until eventually it snaps. So he said that danger is that eventually it snaps and you start feeling it. Stop feeling the call to your family, and that's when you end up being a workaholic, is you've lost that pull that tells you that, like, hey, you're done here. You need to go back to your family. Like, hey, work can wait. There's a ball game. Hey, you can take off work and miss a meeting. I've had people, like, not take personal vacations because there is a weekly meeting. And they're like, well, I can't go anywhere because the staff meets every Tuesday. And I'm like, what? But I mean, that's like a thought someone, like, genuinely had and felt. They felt that indispensable. And that's a horrible way to feel, because you feel like you can't get away. You feel like you're never not at work, and it's consuming. And I don't want you to be consumed by work unless you want to be consumed by work. And it's usually that way around. Usually people don't have their family pull so tight that they leave work, but that actually is what happened to me. Getting calls every single day to take care of one of my kids, and having to leave work and missing meetings. And, I made it work. My boss was patient. She understood. But it's not something that I actually want to put myself through again. But because of that, because work and home prioritize, that little band that connected me to church got a little tight. And it actually snapped during depression. The band that connected me to my sense of self, that gave me purpose and hobbies and enjoyment activities, that snapped. I wasn't able to find enjoyment in the things that I wanted to do because I just had this overwhelming sense of anxiety of like, I should be doing something else. And then you find yourself taking those moments because you have to pay that debt to yourself. It's like sleep debt. You have to sleep. You have to relax. Your body will steal it from you, and it steals it from you in really unproductive ways and in ways that you don't like, such as social media scrolling or unmindful activities that you don't want to be engaged with, but you don't feel like you have an option for truly sustaining activities. So that for me has started to snap, and I've been really trying to not let that happen, but that's easier said than done because this goes back to what I said at the beginning. It's about behaviors. What am I going to do to prioritize myself? I cannot say that I'm going to prioritize myself and then just wish it into happening. So what I thought about was like putting on calendar time, but that doesn't work if you have a shifting calendar. And I thought about, well, I go to the gym 3 times a week. Maybe that will be calendarized, and it has to be because I have to go to the gym, right? That's practically work. I get tested on my fitness. I should be able to take time out of the day for fitness. It's a work requirement. So I'm like, okay, well, what about my hobbies? Can I build them into my work day? Like, I'm already working sometimes till 6 or 7 at night, so why can't I take an hour a day? And if I'm stealing time, who am I stealing time to? Me? That's my call. I should be the one in charge to say, my needs aren't being met with this work schedule. I'm going to have a weird work schedule where I get up at 6 and I work for an hour, and then I take my kids to school, and then I work for a couple hours, and then I take a short break and have a lunch break, and then I work for a couple hours, and then I run errands in the afternoon, and then I come home and I work for a couple hours, and then I make dinner and put the kids to bed, and then I'm usually putting myself to bed pretty early. This is not wanting to mark today. It's just too much powder's on my lid. So I'm just keep at it, and eventually it'll pick up the powder and write. This is a Sigma pencil. It's fine. It's the amount that's on my eyelid right now. I know it's marking because my eyelashes are starting to turn baby blue. So I haven't like fully decided what it means to prioritize. Like, do I need to put like an hour a week on my calendar to make sure that I read a book? And is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be more stressful or less stressful to have that time to meet? And I have a feeling as soon as something comes up that's important, I'm just going to not have that time to read. It's going to get overwritten by something. Which makes sense because, it's going to be in line with my priorities. So I'm like, oh, maybe my priority is not taking care of myself after all. If it's on my calendar and I'm just going to ignore it, maybe I'm not as committed as I thought. And I would love to know what your guys' personal definition of work-life balance is. Like, how do you define it? Because, fallout, oh well. Because I haven't seen a really good definition of it, and I'm pretty well read on this subject. That's ironic, because it's different for everyone. A lot of people need a full 8 hours of sleep, and if they don't get that, they don't have work-life balance. But I had one commander, he got like 4 hours of sleep, but it enabled him to get up early, like before he had young kids. So he could get up early in the morning and read and take time to himself and experience the quiet of the house, which is like a very spiritual thing to do, but also a very academic thing to do, to get up and read quietly. But I would just fall back asleep if I did that. Like, I love reading, but it is very soporific. I tend not to read big chunks at a time either, precisely for that reason. I need to digest it. I've never really understood that expression, like, oh, it's a book so good, you can't put it down. I'm like, no, I'll always be able to put it down. I have to put it down if it's good. I have to, like, digest what I'm reading. Well, this look turned out way more purple than I wanted it to, but I did use a purple shimmer. I have an idea for a light blue liner. I think I'm going to do that and come back. I am back, and this is exactly what I had in mind. And this soft, pretty blue will get toned down because I'm going to go in closer to my lash line and put some lashes on, but that's what I had in mind. But anyway, this is part of my work-life balance. Like, I'm going to do my makeup anyway, so how do I incorporate my makeup? Like, I'm going to go to the gym, so why don't I go to the gym during the day and not the evening? Maybe somehow I incorporate some other hobbies into the day. The problem is right now work definitely feels like work. Like, I'm writing school papers, so it's not like, I can do what I love and never work a day. And just softly smudge that out. Oh, that's perfect. This one I went a little high. Perfect. Almost. Close enough. I'm going to actually touch this up with a light blue here. So it is what it is, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I figure as long as I'm figuring it out, as long as I'm learning, like as long as you're still learning, if you're still making an effort of achieving work-life balance, you're probably doing okay. Because the reality is you'll never achieve work-life balance, because the minute you think you have, something's going to shift. So it's kind of like the secret to being a Marine. Just adapt and overcome. Get a good rhythm, get something that's sustainable, and then if something changes in your life, be willing to flex and adapt yourself. And I say all that like that's the answer, but it's really the pot preaching to the choir. That is not an expression, but that's what it's like. It's the kettle who's struggling with it, trying to pass on my advice. But I also think, like, if I didn't have such a strong foundation in like cognitive behavioral therapy, and if I weren't able to go, wow, I'm really stressed out, I'm having this negative thought, why do I have this negative thought, I wouldn't be able to engage in mental health practices such as what would make my life better right now. I wouldn't have gotten into coaching where I was able to say, oh, positive psychology is a thing. Like, there's a science to this. It's not that, we're choosing to be unhappy, but there are things that we can choose that lead to greater happiness. It's not a guarantee of an outcome, but it is a process. And I feel like I'm still very much engaged in that process. And as long as I'm engaged in that process, I have hope. And as long as I have hope, I don't have depression. So even if I don't have work-life balance, I have hope. And that's I think that's more important. And I don't know, maybe that's my takeaways. It's not about having the answer and saying like, oh, what is work-life balance and do I have it? Because I think I just kind of established for myself at least, that no, I won't ever have it. I won't ever have it, but I can get close. And I can feel peace and contentment. And if I feel peace and contentment, then I'm doing okay. I'm going to add some more pink to this look, though. It's a lot of pink going on, but I like it. Pink's not my favorite color, but it's working for me today. And then I've got to not wear the Fenty gloss every day, but I bought it and I want to, so I'm going to. Can't talk to you in lip liner, though. Find if you cross it in the center like that, if you have a Cupid's bow, it makes it so easy to keep it precise. Also, don't go quite in all the way to the lips, to the outer corner. I don't know, there's just something clownish to me. Personal preference, but that's how I feel. And before I forget, I'm going to do my powder and my bronzer. Because I'm part polar bear, part vampire, and I have the complexion of a sheet of paper. Oh, no, I don't. I'm darker than my headband. See, there we go. Reminds me of this video of a woman saying, "Stop calling us white. We're not white." And as a black woman gets on the responds, and she's like, "No, you're white." And she just like very politely describes her in various shades of like cream, ivory, and buff. You are as white as they come. You don't get to tell people not to call you white. Which is unfortunate. Everyone should have some agency and self-determination in what they're called. But you also got to realize you don't actually get to determine what other people call you. You can make suggestions and you can also get laughed at. And that is the life she entered. I don't think she meant to, but that's where she ended up. No contour today. I'm not going to go back and do it. I do feel like I need more blush, so I'm going to put on my gloss and do one more layer of blush. This is not the perfect gloss for this look. It is. I don't need your opinion. It is. It's that good. But I do feel a little naked on the cheeks still. So I'm going to go back to the NYX, which has the same finish as the under blush I put on, the more nudie blush. And it's got a little bit of a shimmer, which will help because I'm not going to do highlighter. I don't think highlighter would make sense with the matte liner and the shimmer on the blush and lips. I think that'd be too much. But there, I feel that's better. I feel that shimmer's pretty. My daughter wants to wear makeup and she's only 11. So I'm like, girl, are you going to wear makeup? Why do you want to make makeup? And she goes, to look pretty. I'm like, you're pretty the way you are. And she says, well, I want to feel more pretty. I like putting it on. I'm like, atta girl. I feel like that's such a healthy attitude to have. Like, I'm pretty, but I like this process and I like this look. And thank you for listening. I hope you like this look as well. But if you don't, you're always free to try your own thing. Take care and goodbye.